Hello and welcome to our program titled IFAI Member Saves with Total Energy Solutions and Procurement. My name is Carrie Shepard, Marketing Analytics Manager for APPI Energy, and I'll be your moderator for today's webcast. Please note that all participant lines are muted. Please submit questions at any time during the session by using the Q&A box on the bottom of your screen. Simply type your question and click Next, Send, next to the box. Our presenter today is Ben Etherton, Director of Consulting with APPI Energy. Joining us as well this afternoon is Haley Bartley, Member Program Specialist with IFAI. Welcome, Haley.
Good afternoon. I wanted to take a few moments to introduce our presenter today, Ben Etherton. We have recently endorsed APPI Energy as our preferred provider for all things energy. APPI is one of the oldest and largest independent energy consulting firms in the U.S. and provides electricity and natural gas procurement services. This year, they are rolling out their new Energy Solutions division for efficiency projects and improved sustainability. They are starting off that new division regionally in Pennsylvania, Maryland, and Delaware, but we anticipate this to spread across the U.S. soon. I hope you all enjoy the program and look forward to any feedback you guys might have. Thank you.
Thanks, Haley. Thanks, Carrie. So, as mentioned, I'm Director of Consulting here at APPI. Thank you for joining our webinar today. We're going to start off just by talking briefly about the member benefits for IFAI members. APPI does energy procurement solutions. We help to create customized energy contract opportunities. Essentially, we bid out your company's specific electricity and natural gas needs to a substantial number of vetted suppliers. As you see here, there's 36 suppliers that bid through our proprietary bidding platform. Since you are a member of the IFAI, there's absolutely no upfront cost, no obligation, or anything of that nature to make use of our services. Essentially what we're doing is we're going out, we've vetted hundreds of suppliers, we've gone out and deciphered which ones are the most competitive in every deregulated market and have narrowed down those several hundred to just these 36 as credible suppliers for serving business entities around the United States. So that's due to creditworthiness, favorable contract terms and conditions for you as the end user, things of that nature. I'm sure many of you are inundated with phone calls all the time from energy companies, energy suppliers, energy consultants, energy brokers. And I'd like to start by apologizing on behalf of the industry for all of those phone calls that you all receive. There's lots of people selling energy out of their basement and things of that nature. Unfortunately, there's a lot of relatively uncredible energy brokers and consultants and suppliers out there as well who present themselves as credible and might offer to sign you into contracts at a very favorable rate, but then all of a sudden your prices go up dramatically. So we've done that due diligence. We figured out of those several hundred phone calls and people that inundate you all the time, which ones are the most credible and are going to appropriately serve you. So we put that through our bidding platform. We go out and find any offer for you, anywhere typically from a 12 to a 60-month contract term length. Primarily what we're looking at is fixed, full requirements energy solutions. So essentially creating a price per kWh that will remain the same anywhere from 1 to 5 years, anywhere from 12 to 60 months. So that's what we do through our platform. It's a minimal time commitment on the part of your business. Instead of you having to go out and call all 36 different suppliers and make sure that all 36 are providing pricing to you side by side on the same day for true green apples to green apples comparison. That capacity, ancillary, transmission, line losses, RPS, RMR, all the available line items are included, that there's favorable terms. So is there a 100% swing where your usage is covered regardless of fluctuations or variations in your usage profile throughout the year? All of these things are considered and looked at through APPI to best protect you as the business entity. So that's what we're doing. We're totally agnostic as to which supplier we proceed with, as long as they are going to serve you appropriately. This is an example of our deliverable. This is what we're looking at when we make recommendations to you as the business entity. When we put out your bid based on your usage profile, your load factors, and things of that nature, we're asking all 36 suppliers for their best offers, anywhere from that 1 to 5 year contract term length, with all available line items included, and they come back and they show us all these different quotes. So we consolidate all of that into this easy to read format, and essentially this is what we use to then come back to you with a recommendation. As you can see, prices here vary drastically from one term to the next. Every single supplier is extremely different as well. So we make sure that we've cast a wide net and asked for pricing from every possible option for you, because you never know if Constellation or Direct or Hudson or Champion or Talon or Tri-Eagle or any of these suppliers, which one is going to be the most competitive on any given day. The energy markets are a lot like the stock markets, so prices do change daily. So it's essential that the prices that you're looking at are day-to-day prices. A lot of times companies might tell you, hey, here's a quote and it's good for a month. In order for a company to hold a price for a month, there's a substantial premium on that. So APPI makes sure that you're looking at very relative, accurate day-to-day numbers, because that's going to have the least amount of premium and ultimately the best possible price for you as the business entity. One thing you'll notice up in the top corner of this says that the contract starts in September of 2019. As you know, it is not quite September yet. So how could we do that? How can we look at pricing that doesn't start until September of 2019? Well, if you have a current contract that say is with APG&E and it doesn't expire until September, APPI is able to go out and ask all the suppliers for prices that start in September of 2019. This will protect you from any early termination fees and things of that nature, but it also allows you to possibly take advantage of the markets prior to your current contract expiring, if for some odd reason today prices are extremely competitive for you. So one big differentiator and something that everyone should be considering is, because the markets are a lot like the stock markets, prices change every single day, you need to be extremely proactive with the markets. You need to be looking, on average, our firm is looking 18 to 24 months before a current contract even expires. So again, in theory, if a price comes up and you're paying 6.5 cents right now with APG&E and your contract doesn't expire until September of 2019, well, if pricing comes back and all the prices are about 6.5 cents and you still have several months until your contract expires, you might want to wait and see what the markets are going to do over the next several months. But if pricing comes back, and as you see here, there's an offer at 5.4 cents or 5.5 cents for an additional several years that starts as soon as your current contract expires, you could potentially hedge and lock in at a penny less than what you are currently paying until September for 2 years beyond September of 2019. You'll avoid any termination fees or anything involved like that, and you'll be able to take advantage of the markets earlier at a very substantial cost reduction, which will also create more budget certainty for your business. So that's the type of recommendations and services that we're providing on a daily basis. We're constantly monitoring the markets. We're looking multiple years in advance of an expiration date, and you're not totally susceptible to not being able to take advantage of the markets, even if you're in a current contract. The next page shows basically how volatile the markets are. This is the electricity PJM wholesale market settlements. So basically what you're looking at is over the past 10 years, where have prices been? There's some dramatic spikes here, and largely it's due to market speculation. The market crash back in 2008 caused dramatic increases in energy prices. A lot of the times hurricanes historically have caused dramatic spikes in prices. A couple of years ago, there was something called the polar vortex. They talked about that a little bit again this past winter. We've had a couple really cold spells that have poured across the United States. Chicago, I believe it was negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit for a few days. So basically when that happens, we usually see quite a bit of a spike in the energy markets. So APPI is tracking this every single day and trying to make sure that end users, that businesses, commercial, industrial, and municipal clients are able to take advantage of the markets when they're at a low and not during these dramatic spikes. Natural gas, what's pretty interesting that you'll notice here is that natural gas follows electricity pretty closely. So a lot of the times if you see a spike in pricing with natural gas, you're going to see a pretty comparable spike for electricity. If you look back and forth between these two graphs, you'll notice that the spikes are in the same areas of time historically. So natural gas has quickly become the #1 producer of electricity in the United States. Used to be coal-fired power plants. Right now, because of shale and other things of that nature, we found a substantial amount of natural gas reserves. And the average age of our coal-fired power plants is over 30 years old. So they're very inefficient. A lot of them have come offline. Some of them are coming back online, but we're still seeing a substantial correlation between natural gas and electricity now. So we are tracking the natural gas prices daily also. This is a Energy Research Council graph that basically breaks down where prices have been trending. A lot of what we're trying to answer with the ERC is when should you buy and for how long? So what the ERC is, the Energy Research Council, it's a proprietary system that APPI has access to. It's a research firm that tracks over 500 million data points. And essentially what they've been collecting for multiple years now is price points from multiple suppliers across every single utility in the United States to see where prices have been trending. And they help by putting together these charts for us to better understand where prices have been historically, where they are currently, where they're projected to be in the future. And then we're making our recommendations based off of those charts. And right here, you'll see PECO. PECO is a utility in Pennsylvania. Many of you might have facilities in PA, or if you're in Chicago, Illinois, for instance, it would be comparable to ComEd. Or in Texas, there's Encore or AEP. In New England, there's Eversource. Every single one of these utilities across the nation, APPI operates in. So this one's for PECO, and as you see, at some point last year, we were near multi-year lows. Prices have since gone up, but we're still close to about a 5% savings compared to where prices were trading 2 years ago. So prices are still very competitive. We really did notice an all-time low at some point within the past year and a half, depending on what market you're in. But nationally speaking, prices were extremely low last year compared to anything historically, and have slowly been trending up. But a lot of the times our clients are still seeing somewhere between a 5 to upwards of 20–25% annual savings. So that's that chart. This is the blue ocean. Basically, this again is the whole casting a wide net recommendation that APPI has. A lot of brokers, consultants, and businesses will oftentimes go out to anywhere from 4 to 10 suppliers, or they think pretty consistently, look, almost all the time, Constellation, Direct, Hudson, and Champion are the most competitive. So we always go back to those same 4 suppliers and ask them for their best prices. Well, if you do that and you only reach out to those 4 suppliers, there's a chance that the 4 of them might be bidding somewhere between 6.3 and 6.6 cents. But if you had cast a wider net and asked all options, all 36 different suppliers for their best prices, occasionally there's an outlier, and the outlier might be bidding at 6 cents versus everyone else at 6.3, 6.4, 6.5, 6.6. So one of the things that APPI thinks is really important is making sure that we're going to every single credible supplier for your business to ask them all for their best offers. Sometimes what you'll notice is that there's new suppliers to a market. We track every single day what suppliers are either entering or exiting certain markets. And sometimes there's a really favorable market opportunity for a business to consider a new supplier to a market who's maybe been serving, say, New England for a very long time, but they have never served businesses in Pennsylvania. All of a sudden, they decide to enter the Pennsylvania market. So a lot of times what they might be doing is trying to gain market share. So instantly, they're offering extremely competitive pricing in PA, just so that they can build a profile and a pipeline for themselves in Pennsylvania. So a lot of the times they'll come in with a very attractive price in order to find that and gain some market share. So because we're monitoring the markets and looking at that daily, we have the ability pretty regularly to find those anomalies and find those suppliers who are going to appropriately serve you because they've been serving all of our other clients in other markets very well and comparable to Constellation and everybody else. Just because they're entering a new market, there's all of a sudden that market opportunity. So we bring those types of options to our clients regularly. One of the cool things that Haley had mentioned earlier is our new Energy Solutions division. So this is really, really exciting for APPI and our clients. For many years now, our firm has been doing energy solution services for our clients. We've been helping out with demand response projects, basically curtailing your energy consumption during certain periods of time, and getting paid for it, getting paid to stop your business for X number of hours during the day, because there's a lot of on-peak demand on the market. We do that. We've been doing lighting retrofit projects, coming in and taking out all of your old inefficient light bulbs and updating them now with LEDs. And if you have a large warehouse facility or something of that nature, you would not believe the amount of money that businesses are saving by simply changing out their light bulbs to more efficient light bulbs. And that's something that we've been doing for many years for our clients. We've done anaerobic biodigesters, helping clients explore opportunities to burn byproducts and convert that into energy. We've done solar fields, installing solar panels on properties, on rooftops, wherever, when it makes sense for our clients. And sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it does, and that's what we're here for. We're here to help explore those options. Wind farms, whatever the case might be, full facility audits, having people come in, walk through your facility and figure out inefficiencies, inefficient machines, inefficient processes, and then make suggestions to become more energy efficient and sustainable for your business. So while we've been doing that for years, we have not formalized a division for it and opened it up to all of our clients before. Fortunately, we have formalized that now. Margot Madden is our Vice President of Energy Solutions. APPI would be happy to introduce you to her and her team internally here that will be able to come out and do a facility audit for you and explore different efficiencies and sustainable effort projects for your business, if that's of interest. The cool thing with that is that for many years, we've been relatively pigeonholed, if you will, into just deregulated electricity and natural gas states around the United States. With Energy Solutions, APPI is able to help any business with any facility in the U.S., in any state, even if it's regulated. So that's what we're doing now. We are rolling it out initially, primarily in Pennsylvania, Maryland, and Delaware. But if you have a facility that needs help in another state, it's something that we're very capable of helping out with and exploring with you. So it's worth bringing up to our company. So APPI by the numbers, as Haley again mentioned earlier today, our firm is considered one of the oldest and largest energy consulting firms in the United States. That might sound crazy to some of you because I'm sure you're much older than us. We were only started in the mid-90s. But what's impressive about that is that energy deregulation did not occur until the mid-90s. So you really can't even be any older than APPI is in our industry. We manage several thousand, just over 2,100 commercial, industrial, and government clients all across the United States. So obviously the number of facilities is substantially more than that, but the number of actual unique business and governmental clients and accounts that we manage is over 2,100. We have 158 affinity endorsements. I would say that that's probably the most impressive thing about APPI. Much like the relationship that we have here with your organization, the IFAI, our firm has also won the endorsement and is the exclusive energy consultants for 157 other affinity groups. So that could be chambers of commerce. The Pennsylvania Chamber of Commerce, for instance, endorses us as their program. The National Association of Manufacturers, the National Tooling and Machining Association, the Precision Metal Forming Association, the Pennsylvania Bankers Association, the Maryland Nonprofits. There's 158 total that have endorsed APPI as their energy consultants for their members. What is really, really neat about that I think protects you all as members, is that we went through a due diligence process from your organization, from the IFAI. They might have looked at other programs, they considered who we were, they did a deep dive and figured out that we could appropriately serve their members. 157 other groups did that as well. If we serve you inappropriately, you're going to talk poorly about us to the IFAI. So it is not in our interest to serve you incorrectly, or else we will lose the endorsement of your organization. So we are always out for your best interest. We're not hoping to sign you into a 1 or 2 year contract. APPI wants to create a long-term relationship with every business that we work with, and work with them hopefully for the foreseeable future. We do manage over 10 billion kWh of electricity and over 18 million decatherms of natural gas. So that's 180 million CCF, or 180 million therms, which is what oftentimes you might see on your bill. This is a substantial amount of energy. To put it in perspective, this is over $1 billion in energy spend for our clients that we manage, which is a benefit again for businesses. Basically, as with many things in business, the larger you are, the more competitive the opportunities you will have. Buying clout does matter in the energy industry as well. And when you're going out by yourself and you're reaching out, even if you could reach out to all 36 possible credible suppliers in the U.S., you might only be reaching out with your 1 million or 10 million or 100 million kWh. And sure, they'll be competitive for that, but through APPI, you'd be reaching out with billions of kWh. And the suppliers are going to do everything in their power to serve you appropriately and serve APPI appropriately. So again, 36 vetted suppliers. Another really nice thing about our firm is that we have a full team here. We're not 1 or 2 guys selling energy out of their basement. We have, I think it's the next slide here, 42 employees. So we have an entire division for customer service. You're not going to call and wait online with an answering machine or whatever the case might be when you need to speak with us. You will have instant access to our consulting team and to our customer service team. The staff will be available to help you out anytime you have questions or issues. They'll be able to help when you have new accounts that you need to add on, when you have current facilities that are being closed down, or billing issues with suppliers or utilities. Our team is here to help you out with that. So we resolved over almost 900. I wish we had done 4 more, but almost 900 customer service cases last year. Here's a pretty good map of the states that we are currently operating in. So again, this is specific to purely electricity and natural gas deregulated states in the United States. So this breaks down which states are deregulated, which ones are partially deregulated for both electricity and natural gas. One thing to keep in mind here is that if you have one-off locations or specific locations that are in these white states, we can still help with those potentially. It's always worth looking into. We can explore natural gas opportunities for you. And now with our Energy Solutions division, we could absolutely at least look into opportunities for lighting retrofit, solar, and other types of projects if you have questions about facilities in those other states. But if you are within any of these blue, green, or gray states, there's a very high probability that APPI can drive a lot of value into helping you lower your costs, create budget certainty, and things of that nature when it comes to electricity, natural gas, or facility audits, facility efficiencies, and sustainability. So that is the fruition of our webinar this morning, or this afternoon rather. Sorry, time got away from me, but Carrie and Haley, are there any questions?
I have a question. What if I have facilities in Texas, Ohio, and Arizona?
Okay, so great question. So if we go back to the state map, you'll notice Texas and Ohio are green, which means that they're both totally deregulated for electric and natural gas. Additionally, Arizona is currently white. However, that does not mean that there's no opportunity for something in Arizona. APPI always recommends, again, looking at it from a corporate approach. There is power in numbers. So if you have facilities in all three states, we recommend looking at all of them at the same time. By looking at as many facilities, as many locations as possible, you're going to have a larger usage profile when you go out into the marketplace and ask for best options. So since we operate in every deregulated market, we recommend going out to every deregulated market and looking at everything at one time for your business. There's very competitive opportunities right now in Ohio. Texas had a big spike because of capacity cost increases last year. So if you hedged before that, there's a really good chance you got a very favorable rate. To put it in perspective, Texas prices within the past 2 years, we've seen as low as 2.8 cents. A lot of pricing in the low threes. That's fixed, full requirements, capacity, ancillary transmission, line losses, RPS, RMR, etc. And now all of a sudden, a lot of prices in Texas are back into the 4s or the 5s, which historically speaking is still very, very competitive. If you look back over the past 20 years of your energy payments in Texas, you've paid more than 4 cents. You've paid more than 5 cents on average. So we're still seeing really nice pricing. It just isn't as low as that 3-cent pricing that we saw previously. Ohio, on average, a lot of our clients are seeing somewhere between a 10 to 20% savings annually in Ohio. Arizona is regulated still. However, something kind of interesting about Arizona, they're going through the process of possibly deregulating. Their businesses know that they are overpaying for electricity. So if you have facilities there, a lot of your neighbors are basically going through legislative measures to try to pass new legislation to deregulate the state of Arizona. Nevada did that pretty recently as well with conversations. That was a big battle between Sheldon Adelson and Warren Buffett, because Warren owned the utility and Sheldon was one of the largest energy consumers with his casinos and so forth in Las Vegas. But you know, definitely could be opportunities in Arizona. We actually very recently even helped a facility in Arizona with lighting retrofits. So, you know, again, definitely try to look at all facilities that you have across the U.S. in a bundled package out to the marketplace to see what's possible for energy pricing as well as sustainability efforts and efficiencies.
Thank you, Ben. We do have another question for you. What if my current contract does not expire until October 2020?
Yep, great question. So we kind of ran through that a little bit before, and to go back, here's that chart. So remember, we talked briefly about September 2019 start date for this pricing in this sample. With an October 2020 start, you're well within 24 months of expiration. Again, on average, our clients are looking 18 to 24 months prior to their current contract expiring at futures. We highly recommend being as proactive as possible. You do not want to create early termination fees, but as long as we know when your current contract expires and we can look at futures for a new contract to start as soon as your current contract expires, we can help with a very seamless transition, but we might be able to take advantage of the markets today for a new contract that doesn't even start for 18 months. And by doing so, a lot of the times you might see 10 to 20, 25% annual cost reductions by signing earlier. A lot of the times we tend to see a little bit of a premium if you wait within 12 months of an expiration date. As you get closer to your contract expiring, you haven't had as much time to actually monitor the markets and possibly take advantage of a market low. So definitely recommend everybody to start looking sooner rather than later, because by being proactive, there's a very good chance you will receive much more favorable pricing for your business.
Thank you, Ben. And if you have additional questions, please feel free to email them to batherton@apppienergy.com. We'd like to thank everyone for participating with us today. A special thank you to our presenter, Ben Etherton, and to Haley Bartley for joining us as well today. This concludes today's program. You may now disconnect. Thank you.